does using a revolution to establish a new world order look? Well, let's just take a look at Egypt. Here's a country that we're giving over $1.5 billion of foreign aid to, and this is what they are doing with it today. The Obama administration is ignoring U.S. law that prohibits giving aid to a country that has established, a government that has established itself with a coup. Rand Paul has pointed that out, but the media gives him a pass. He's allowed to violate the law as he sees fit. And Rand Paul even pointed out that a lot of that money, those billions of dollars, could be used to help to rebuild the crumbling infrastructure of America. But this is what we're giving money for. In an article today from Sky News, Egypt, there are hundreds dying in raids on Morsi camps. Sky News reported the Egyptian vice president has resigned in protest of massacres. More than 278 people have been confirmed killed after Egyptian security forces opened fire as they tried to clear two protest camps loyal to deposed President Mohamed Mursi in Cairo. Sky's Middle East correspondent Sam Kiley reporting earlier a camp in the capital said it was under very heavy gunfire and was a massive military assault on largely unarmed civilians in very large numbers. He said government forces were using machine guns, snipers, AK-47 and M16 rifles firing into the crowd. He also added there are machine gun rounds and snipers on the roof that are preventing people from getting any closer to the field hospital in the camp. I haven't seen any evidence yet of any weapons on the side of the pro-Morsi camp. The camp is very full of women and children. So this is the kind of government that we're supporting. This is the kind of government that it is worth ignoring prohibitions against governments, giving aid to governments that were established by coup d'etat. That's why we have those kinds of prohibitions in, because those kinds of governments do this type of thing. Now, in further news, we have an article from Paul Joseph Watson on INFOWARS. MIT says that future smartphones will listen to everything all of the time. A report by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology hails the era of, quote, technologies that emphasize listening to everything all the time, unquote. Ubiquitous surveillance aided by microphones installed on new smartphones like Google's Moto X that don't run off of the main battery. You can't turn this thing off just by removing your battery. And can, quote, continually monitor their auditory environment to detect the phone owner's voice, discern what room or other setting the phone is in, or pick up other clues from background noise. The technology could make it possible for software to detect your moods, know when you're talking, not to disturb you, and perhaps someday keep a running record of everything you hear. It could also be used to pinpoint the sources of your stress if you're talking too quickly, or present relevant information in relationship to your audio environment. In other words, give you commercials. As Paul Watson points out, it's kind of like 1984 meets Minority Report. It's pretty amazing when you stop and think about the capability of technology merged with an authoritarian regime that believes that it has the right to monitor everything about your life and record it. Very chilling technology. And we have to get past the point that we want to just embrace every technology out of the box without looking at the real implications of this, not just for privacy, but for the entire society and how it empowers a totalitarian regime. This is far beyond anything that Orwell ever dreamed of, far beyond anything that the Stasi ever implemented in East Germany or Hitler was able to implement because of this kind of powerful technology. Another story from BobTuscan.com, we see a family has been raided by a SWAT team over their weeds. And this is not the kind of weeds you smoke. That's the kind of mistake that they made. At around 7:30 last Friday morning, inhabitants of the Garden of Eden, a small intentional community based on sustainability, were awakened by a SWAT raid that was conducted by the city of Arlington for suspicion of being a full-fledged marijuana growth and trafficking operation. Ultimately, only a single arrest was made based on unrelated outstanding traffic violations. A handful of citations were given for city code violations, and that is zero, drug-related violations were found. The entire operation lasted about 10 hours. Dozens of city officials, SWAT team, police officers, and code compliance employees, and numerous official vehicles, including dozens of police cars, several specialized vehicular equipment. Witnesses say that there were helicopters and unmanned flying drones circling the property in the days prior to the raid that are presumed to have been part of the intelligence gathering. Well, they didn't do too well in terms of gathering intelligence, did they? The combined expenses for the raid itself and the collection of information leading up to the fruitless raid are estimated in the tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars. The city of Arlington has trespassed, they say, and committed robbery against us. This is a press release from them, amongst other crimes, and they will be held accountable in a court of law in due time. Well, let's hope that they are held accountable. What we're seeing here is a bunch of Keystone cops using the full force of the militarized police state against these people. As I said, they had extensive surveillance, but they couldn't tell that these plants were not marijuana plants. And so after this authoritarian SWAT team raid, threatening these people for 10 hours, brutalizing them for 10 hours, they finally come up with some totally unrelated charges like traffic violations. They had to come up with something. They're going to fish for 10 hours until they find something because there's nothing there. But if there were marijuana plants there, would that have justified this? Absolutely not. We have a new documentary that's come out, available exclusively from INFOWARS, called American Drug War II, Cannabis Destiny. This is from Kevin Booth. He produced, if you may remember, American Drug War, which was about the trafficking of cocaine and the corruption of government officials. This documentary follows a personal tale of children and how this affects children because, of course, the government always loves to use either racism to intimidate people, or they say that they're going to save the children. That's what they need to come up with authoritarian policies for. But the reality is that America's drug war harms children. It harms children in foster care because the pharmaceutical companies are pushing to have the government give legal but very dangerous drugs to children in foster care. And it also keeps away medical marijuana, which has a lot of benefits for everyone, not just children. He talks about children who have seizures that are relieved from medical marijuana treatment, its effectiveness and its safety in treating cancer and relieving the symptoms associated with cancer. It's a great documentary. Again, it's available only from InfoWarsStore.com in the DVD version, and we have a combo pack where you can get the first documentary combined with this one at a $7 savings. Well, right after the break, we've got an interview. Gigi Arnetta is talking to someone from overpasses.org. Now, they would not agree with Michael Steele that Obama does not deserve to be impeached. As a matter of fact, they believe that he should be impeached, as we said before, for the crimes that are like Richard Nixon but far greater in extent, and for new crimes like killing Americans abroad that have not had trial. So it's going to be an interesting interview. Stay tuned right after the break.